Hello, I'm Kimberly Powell, and this is Showbiz Mums, a podcast about mums working in theatre and how they juggle the chaos of parenting plus an 8-show week. We'll cover birth stories, pregnancy, and postpartum in the theatre industry, and discuss how to maintain a career whilst having kids, or at least trying to. We'll also open up the conversation of job sharing and why that can be beneficial. So join me as we speak to some amazing theatre parents and get some advice on this pretty niche subject matter, but something I'm really passionate about. Just a quick trigger warning. In this conversation, we do talk about baby loss and miscarriage at around 23 minutes. And also to say this was a great chat, but it was a couple of months ago. So Becca has actually given an update in the last 15 minutes of the episode as her circumstances have changed quite a bit. And you'll hear why in the episode. So be sure to stick around and listen to her update at the end. I know it's quite long, so you might want to do it in two halves because when do mums ever get over an hour to themselves? But I didn't want to cut much because it's really entertaining and Becca does not hold back. And she was so giving with her time and experience. So I just wanted to keep in as much as possible. So on to the episode. Today, I'm speaking to Rebecca Faulkenberry. Becca has appeared on Broadway as Sherry in Rock of Ages, Nancy in the original Broadway cast of Groundhog Day, and she played Mary Jane in Spiderman, Turn of the Dark. In the UK, she's appeared in the Royal Court's production of Aunt Dan and Lemon, and you might remember her, if you're my age, as Sharpay Evans in High School Musical at the Hammersmith Apollo. She's been in films such as Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, where she played Al Pacino's daughter, as you do, and she has many varied TV credits. She now has 2 children and lives in New York, and I can't wait to chat about how she makes it work. So hiya, Becca. How you doing?
Hiya. Good.
Thanks for joining me.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
No, appreciate it. No, I always remember that production because it was my graduating year. It must be 2008. And I think we had it was Lauren Varnum, Chris Milford, a few people all went into that show.
Yeah.
So I remember always being like, who's this American?
How did she get over here? Send her back. But I'm not really. I'm like a 50-50. I'm a weird hybrid. And I'm sure my accent will migrate quite British by the end of this because that's just what happens to it.
Oh, brilliant. So, so where are you from and where do you live at the moment?
Short version is I was born in Texas. My parents are American, but my dad's Bermudian. Bermuda's a British colony. We moved to Bermuda when I was 2. So I'm really Bermudian. I grew up in Bermuda, went through high school and everything there. And then when I was 18, went to college. I did my bachelor's in a short version in America. And then I did my master's in Scotland. And then because I'm British, we did our showcase. I ended up getting an agent in London. And I always thought, well, I'll try and do Broadway and go to New York. But then loving the UK and loving London, I was like, well, I don't have any reps in the US and I do in London. And I booked, West Yorkshire Playhouse was my first job. I was like, and I've got a job. So I guess I'll just stay put.
Amazing.
And then I was in the UK for 3 or 4 years. And then I came to the States in 2010 on a whim. When I was hungover, I booked a plane ticket.
Brilliant.
I was... Sophie's Steakhouse in Covent Garden. Do you know Sophie's Steakhouse?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I was waitering at Sophie's Steakhouse.
Oh, yeah.
And we had our Christmas party. And the next day, the Wi-Fi was out in my flat and I was feeling awful. And so I was at a cafe. I was like, this is not working. There weren't as many auditions. I was like, I'm going to go to America. I'm American. I'll go to America and see what happens. And I booked a plane ticket for 6 weeks that morning, sitting in the cafe. And now I've been here 15 years.
And then went and just smashed Broadway, how often is that the story? So I booked my flight and then ended up as Mary Jane.
Well, I booked my flight, then I was a barista. To be fair, I was a barista for about 3 months. And then I booked the national tour of Rock of Ages. And then they moved me off that onto Broadway.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a journey. Incredible. Okay, so take us back to when you were first pregnant. Were you trying for a baby at the time?
Basically, I've had a mad 5 years in the sense that I go back to Bermuda on, I think it was March 13th in COVID.
Right.
And I was like, in case anything crazy happens, I'm going to go meet my nephew that was just born. And I'll go for 2 days and then fly back in case something. Everything erupts in New York. They close the airport in Bermuda, so you can't even get out if you wanted to. Not that I wanted to. I was like, I'm not going back to New York. I'll stay here.
Yeah.
Then via happenstance events and being on lockdown and we couldn't leave our houses, my husband, who had been DMing me on Instagram for a couple months. I was like, who is this random person that lives in Bermuda? And he has no pictures of himself on his Instagram either.
Oh, red flag.
But, right? I was like, I think you're short. I think that's why. Why you're not posting photos next to anything. And he is my short king, my 5'7.5" short king.
Oh, the half matters.
Yes, right. But anyway, we went for a walk like 6 years ago and 3 days ago. It was May 4th. I met him 6 years ago. And so then we had a whirlwind romance, as so many people did in COVID that I know. I know people that either separated or they got married. But then we got engaged January 1st. So like 8 months after I met him. And I was on hold for 2 TV shows, not for one, but like 2 shows. So one of them's surely going to go. I flew to the States. As soon as I landed, they're like, oh, released on both. No.
Oh.
But I was kind of walking around New York and I thought, I don't think Broadway's coming back this year.
Right.
And so we get engaged. And if we go on the supposed timeline you're supposed to, we get engaged. If we do a really quickie wedding in like 9 months to a year, we get married. And then the next year we try to have a baby. And that puts me, but I already haven't worked for a year because everything's been shut down. I said, you know what? I've been on the pill for a few years. I'm going to go off it. I'm going to get my body right. And it's going to take ages. And if it gets to Christmas and it's not happened, basically 2 weeks later, I got pregnant.
Oh my God.
And I was waiting to get my period and I was talking to my acupuncturist. I was like, what herbs? I'm not getting my period yet. I'm just feeling really weird. And then I got on hold for another TV show like 4 weeks after that. And because I had just been feeling so odd, he's like, well, you should. I was like, should I? He's like, yeah, you might. I was like, there's no way. I've not even had a period. And we didn't even try. Like we didn't. It was like,
Wow.
let's think about it. And then
Bop.
Then that was that. Boom.
Boom.
Yeah.
Oh, so then how was your pregnancy? And were you like navigating all these TV shows and auditions? Were you then like, okay, step away from that? Or were you like, let's just see what happens?
I'm a let's see what happens. I do not want to take work off for anything. I'm kind of one of those people that's like, I just want to keep working and I'm determined to find out how to do both. And it seems impossible. And I think you just do it and you watch other people doing it. And then you're like, you want to give me some advice? Anyone have some advice? How do I do this? And so my pregnancies, because I have 2 now, were easy. I was a very easy pregnant person. I worked out the whole time. I know that sounds very unfair, but I like herniated 3 discs in Spiderman. I've always had a bad lower back. Being pregnant, what's it called? The thing that loosens up all your muscles. Insert biology doctor term. That my back never felt better because I was so worried my back was going to play up, but it felt great. The babies, on the other hand, was very stressful. I did not have easy pregnancies in the sense of my babies, meaning Lewin, we had, that's my 4-year-old now, and everything was going well. And I didn't have a doctor in Bermuda because I was just there during COVID. And I thought, first of all, this came out of nowhere. I did not expect this. I looked at, you see the pregnancy test thing when people do it, and they're like, oh my God, and they're crying. I was like, no. And I showed Matt, I was like, well, something's, and I'd been having weird pain. So I was like, well, this isn't right. Something's wrong. Well, something must be wrong. And I was just so freaked out by it. I was like, I can't be pregnant. I'm not prepared to be. I was just trying to get a period. I haven't digested the idea I could be pregnant. And so, but with Lewin, we had our first 12-week scan, and that was good. And then we had our 22-week anatomy scan. And I don't know how it is in the UK, but in the States, you'll have the tech who's doing her whole thing. And then they'll go, great. I'm just going to get a doctor to come in and chat to you, and I'll be right back. And you kind of go, oh, no. Yeah. Okay. And so it turns out he had a right aortic arch, it's called. It's in his heart. It's where your kind of main artery is the one that is coming out the other side. And because it comes out this way, it wraps around his trachea. So it's not that big a deal in the
Okay.
sense that it's a simple surgery. As long as there's blood flowing through it and it's working, it's all fine. It's just like a plumbing issue.
Okay.
However, then they go, great, now we're going to have you talk to the genetic counselor. And it's all like right there. So you're in the tech, then you're with the doctor, then you go 2 doors down to the other person. And she was basically like, so this presents 1 in 10 times or whatever the statistic was in people with this quite severe genetic disorder. And so we really suggest you have an amnio. And then they're going, and if you were thinking of sacrificing the pregnancy, then you would want to get that done by 25 weeks. I was like, what are you talking about?
Ooh.
He's kicking. I'm 22 weeks pregnant. If I'm thinking of losing, what? Anyway,
Wow.
and so then, you're back and forth on the amnio because that has a risk to it as well. But then I'm someone that I'll just ruminate on the stress of something over and over. I'm like, he's fine. I know he's fine. I just feel he's fine. I was like, but I was like, whatever, let's do the amnio, do the thing. And and then it was a hard 2 weeks. And then they were like, you're good. He's fine. It's like, I knew he was fine.
Oh, phew.
But
Scary,
it
though.
made it all very stressful.
Yeah. Really scary. And then, so when he was born, did he have to go to a surgery straight away, or was there a bit of time?
There was a pediatrician and everything there. He was a 31-hour labor.
Oh.
My water broke, but without a contraction in sight. And, the first, I'll tell you a funny story. They had, what's the brand? I had some pad brand, and that I was like, oh, well, I'll have these for after. It's got some kind of, it's for when you get your period, but they've got like eucalyptus and different whatever scented things on it. And so I was taking a shower. I was like 39 weeks plus 2 or something like that. My water broke on a Wednesday. He was born on Friday, 7 p.m. on Wednesday. And I was taking a shower, and then I was just like, ooh, am I peeing? I was like, I don't feel like I'm peeing. It's very warm and it feels so straight. And then I'm downstairs in the house. I'm like, Matt! Screaming at my husband. I'm like, is my water breaking? Is this my water breaking? He's like, trying to figure it out. And he's like, yeah, I think so. I was like, oh my God, I don't feel anything. We were going to go get pizza. Do we still go get pizza? And then I was like, well, I have those pads. I'll put one of those on. But because it's eucalyptus, it was so like fresh feeling and like almost tingly. And I was like, my God. Oh, weird. Amniotic fluid is like tingly and like feels weird. And my doula's talking to me. I was like, well, yeah, it's feeling very like cooling. And she's like, really? I was like, yeah. She was like, huh. And then it wasn't until, days after giving birth that I'm looking at the package. I'm like, eucalyptus. Got it. It was not my amniotic fluid. I mean, it was amniotic fluid, but that was not what was creating the sensation.
Yeah, it sounds quite nice in a way. I might try that for the next one. Get a little eucalyptus.
I was like, no one told me amniotic fluid felt like this. You'd think someone would have mentioned it in a book, but not the case. So I was pushing for 2.5 hours. And he had the cord wrapped around twice. The things you go through and the things you don't know about birth. I think I spent after I'd given birth, the next few hours, whatever, was just, are you kidding me? That's what it is? Was wild. That went for such a long time. And there's no way everyone does that. Everyone doesn't do that. And yet I see children everywhere and people pregnant. So I know people do that every day, many, many people, but I don't believe everyone does that. That's insane. And so I wish people were a bit more like, yeah, it could be a wild ride. But so from pushing, he was in shock. So he wasn't breathing at first and he had to be taken. And I was 31 hours and out of it. So I had no idea, but Matt was over and having a heart attack about it. I was none the wiser.
Okay.
And they just brought him back to my chest. But from pushing for 2.5 hours, and as I learned, I ended up getting an epidural after Pitocin, which is, do you call it Pitocin in the UK?
I don't think so.
It's the what is it, oxytocin, so whatever they give you to get your contractions and everything going,
like the hormonal.
I was on Pitocin. I pushed for 2.5 hours. I was like, and it's this like warrior phoenix feeling of this is the most painful thing I've ever done in my whole life. I feel like my body is ripping in half because as I found my epidural didn't work. Like I got like a half hour of like loveliness. And then I was like, and in Bermuda, in the US, they put you on a drip. You can literally just continue to do it. In
Great.
Bermuda, they come and they give you one shot and then off they go.
Yeah.
And so having that, it took off such an edge. I was like, oh, and I kind of fell asleep. And then after 45 minutes, I was like, oh, kind of feeling everything again. And then I'm shaking and I'm vomiting. And I was like, I feel everything. And he was back labor as well. He was turned the wrong way.
Oh, Christ.
As I was pushing, I was like, there's something in my right side. It's just like I'm ripping something. But I'm getting him out of my body, so I'm just gonna rip something and continue. And I don't know what if this is supposed to feel like. I've never done this before. Uh, cut to, I kind of felt from my rib down to my right hip bone. The next day, I was like, it's like I tore a muscle or something. And I think this is just a women's healthcare not getting anywhere near enough attention of anything. After I gave birth, for the next 9 months, I had a inguinal hernia ultrasound. I had an ovary ultrasound. I had a MRI on my pelvis. I had and because once it kind of concentrated, I was like, I have like 3 inches. It's right here. I can put my fingers on it. It feels like it's ripped. And the more annoying thing about it is I was like, when it feels really inflamed, when it gets irritated, which is often, it's like I have no bladder control.
Oh,
Like I'm just
sure.
gonna
Yeah.
fully pee. And then as a performer, I'm like, I'm trying to go to a dance call or just to walk
Mm.
into a room. And if it's in those first few months, if it was really bad, if you make me laugh or I jump, it's not gonna be good. And so I was like, how do I perform with this? What am I doing? Wearing diapers or something for the rest of my life? I even went to a urologist kind of 7, 8 months in. I was like, I can tell you where this injury is. Like, if it could just be healed. And she was like, yeah, basically said, there's nothing I can do to heal it or find the thing. There's just things that I can do now in the aftermath of if, uh, your bladder control doesn't come back, but up to 9 months, it can have a lot of improvement. I was like, okay. She's like, but if it doesn't, you can use these. And then these are like tampon things. And then this can fit you for a sling. And this can, I was like, what? There's no way to fix it. We haven't I am not the first woman that has torn something. And I'd go to
Yeah.
physio and they'd say, you sure they can't find a hernia? I said, I've looked. I've tried. I've been to 3 different ultrasounds, 3 different places, and no one can tell me what it is. So luckily, it's way better. But it was one of those really frustrating things where I'm like, I'm trying to get on stage in front of people. And
And you still have it. You just have like learned
it's
to deal
gotten
with
a
it.
lot, but it did get way better. So I'm like, okay, I just have to come to peace with there's some injury that healed and then there's scar tissue and it gets tight and it gets inflamed and I need to just relax. And it's a million times better. But it took about 7 months of feeling like this is going to be a real issue for me.
Yikes. Yeah. Yeah. And so
So
then in your second pregnancy, did it flare up again? Or like second birth, I guess.
it did not. My second birth was 7 hours.
Oh,
It was my
yeah.
redemptive birth, and I was in America, so they're like drugs, drugs, drugs.
Yeah. Of course.
And
Yeah.
my OB here, she was always like, "You sure you don't want to be induced? You just come in, we'll put you to sleep, I'll give you an epidural, you wake up, we'll just push out a baby." That sounds. I'm like, I want to do it myself. I
Yeah.
felt like because I had the pitocin pushed on me and I didn't really want it. I was like, I really want to do another few hours because I'm finally getting contractions and they weren't on board.
Yeah. You
Um,
want to give it a bash.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. But
No,
he's fine. Your son's fine now.
he's
Lewin's all
fine.
good.
He
Great.
had his heart surgery at 1.5. We
Okay.
moved back to New York when he was 8 weeks.
Oh,
And I did a self tape 7 days after he was born.
stop it.
Cause I tell my agents, I'm like, I don't need, if I feel fine, like I don't, especially if it's a TV show, I need to walk on and sit down and speak. And that was the thing that always frustrated me with, auditioning pregnant, like doing stuff through that period. I was like, I'm just pregnant. I'm not
Mm.
injured. I still sing the same. If anything, my acting is on fire because my emotions are going crazy. You should hire me. I'm not a cry on cue person, but if I ever was, it would be in these months when I have all this stuff to give.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be a pregnant person working to show how easy and possible it is. I was like, somebody hire me.
Yeah, there was something about pregnancy. I was like, oh, I really want a pregnant role to be a pregnant person. And I know that can't
Yeah.
always be the
Yeah, yeah,
case,
yeah.
but even if it's an advert or whatever, you're like, be
I
pregnant.
auditioned for 2 or 3 TV shows where I had to be pregnant. I was like, great, here it is.
Yeah. You know,
They think you're a
it's cool.
liability just in
Yeah.
case something happens. I'm like, I'm
Insurance,
not a
blah, blah, blah.
liability. I'm like 25 weeks. And like,
Yeah.
you should see what I bench press in the gym. Like, I'm
Yeah.
fit. I'm feeling on top of it. But, and I love when I see pregnant people working, but I also am like, people are like, well, this person worked, this person worked. And I always say, I don't think anyone's auditioned pregnant, not being attached to something, and then gotten
Yeah.
hired to do the thing.
Yeah, sure.
I'm like, you can get the job if you sneak in there like before
Yeah.
12 weeks, or you did the thing, and they can't fire you because you're pregnant now. And it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
whole weird thing, which I became a lot more enlightened to before my second pregnancy. Because even though I was doing tapes and stuff in Bermuda, I was back in New York. Uh, and I had kind of a year. I knew I wanted a second, so you're kind of in that, I wanna go for jobs and I wanna do things, but I'm probably gonna try and get pregnant soon, and will that
Yeah.
derail this thing? If this goes, then I wanna see it through to the end, but then that puts me 2 years down the line, and I feel like as performers, so many of us already I definitely had this idea of I need to be a certain level of success before I can have babies,
Yeah.
because everything is going to be harder after I have a baby. So somehow I need to get myself a Tony nomination or a Tony Award, or be like in a bunch of original shows so that the work is flowing to me without me needing to hustle for it, so that I can take a year out or 9 months out to have a baby. Not because I want to, but because they're not going to employ me when I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
I should stop putting that in the universe. Knock on wood. They will employ pregnant people. They don't seem to
Yeah.
do it often these days. But then you knock up against age, and it's like, well, if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it. So there's
Yeah.
no perfect time. There's no, "Oh, my career got it." And also, when is your career ever? Even if you the number of times I'm like, "Well, the auditions will flow. This booking, this thing, this is gonna make it all go." I think, "Why is my phone not ringing? How have I not had an audition in 2 months? What's going on? I just did this job." So, it never works out as you think, and
No.
there comes to a point where you're like, "Right, I can't wait anymore, and if it's something I want, I need to just go for it and figure it out."
Totally. I think because as well, everyone's levels of success, because even, you say like Tony nomination, I feel like so many people listening will be like, oh, my, just a Broadway show, or even to be in the
Yeah,
West End is already a big,
yeah,
people might think, oh, that's just what I need to achieve. And I know a lot of mums that have been like, I just need to get this one job out the way, or say that I've
mhm,
done it, or feel like I've done it before I can start trying. And I get that. I totally relate. Like, I think it makes sense, but it's hard to know what level you want to get to until you're like,
yeah.
well, let's try. So then you just got to try, I guess, sometimes.
You just
I
gotta
don't
do
know.
it. But then to comment on the getting pregnant thing, and so I knew that I wanted to set I had about a year out, because I was like, "I'm not getting pregnant before we have our wedding," because we hadn't had a wedding, because I was 3 months pregnant, because I got pregnant so
Oh,
fast.
yeah, of
I was like,
course.
"Well, we should be married before I give birth." And so we went to the courthouse when I was 3 months pregnant. It felt very, I don't know, TV show, naughty. I was like, "Ooh."
She's knocked up.
Yeah. "When did you get married? How old is your child?" Don't tell. So then we had our wedding in Wales and Wrexham, and it was gorgeous and
Oh,
just the best. And, then I was like, "Right, if we're popping out another, let's just get to it." And I feel very lucky that anytime I've tried to get pregnant, I've gotten pregnant immediately. But I had 2 losses between, Lewin and Florence, and I had
uh,
never had that before, and the first one was very early. Um, and so it was kind of, I had known and done the pregnancy test, it had been like 2 weeks or something, and then I hadn't even been to the doctor yet. Uh, and then you start spotting and bleeding out. I was like, "Wait, wait, wait. Oh, no." I was like, "Ah." I'm calling my husband again. I'm like, "It's," and I kind of went, "Oh, I'm that statistic. I'm the 1 in 4," or whatever they
yeah,
say. I
yeah.
didn't I thought I skipped that. I thought I was special in some way because it happened so easily on the first one.
Right.
And then you kind of the realization of like, oh no, these facts are come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Like they do. There is as you get older and like that things do happen to your eggs and their viability and genetic, all the things. And I think was it that one? It was that one or the next one. I had a you're getting these auditions and things are happening as you're also navigating, am I gonna be pregnant? Am I gonna have a baby? Well, I'm not gonna tell anyone because in case something happens, but something probably won't happen, and then you lose one, and
Yeah.
you think, "Okay, well, now I'm not telling anyone." But then the next one was, that was a rough one. That was, I started having spotting at about 8 weeks,
Oh.
and I think when I was 6 or 7 weeks for that, I got a call that, Robin Herder was in, what is it? Beautiful Noise on Broadway,
Oh,
and I
wow.
had been in, final callbacks and stuff when they were doing the original production. So, I get the call, they're like, they want you don't have to sing and stuff because you already did it, but do you wanna come back in? They just need you to know it's a dance part now. I was
Oh,
like, "Oh," I hung
fucking
up my
hell.
dance shoes already anyway, but I won't say no to anything. I was like, "Yeah, I'll try." And so I'm starting to get nauseous and I'm, oh god, doing the most horrific dance call. And I'm like, "But you can't tell anyone you're pregnant and feeling
Mm.
like crap." And also, I don't wanna ever cancel myself out of anything. I'm always gonna try and do something.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so I'm dancing around like, not doing a very good job. But, so that happens and then something else, but then I start I'm like, "Oh, am I losing it? Is this happening?" And then I'd get a check and they'd be like, "No, it's alright." And then I had a flight to the UK, and I had a bad day of it again at, like, 10 weeks, 11 weeks, and, I was like, "I have a flight at 4 o'clock. We're leaving for the airport," and I'm in the ER trying to
Mm.
I'm not getting on the plane if I'm gonna have a miscarriage on the plane,
Yeah.
and then you get the results through, and I have IVs in my arm. I'm like, "I need to get out of here. I have a flight that I'm trying to get to,"
Oh,
and
fuck.
they were like, "We need the doctor to come see you." I was like, "No, can you just take it out? Like, I just need to if you told me I'm fine and I know everything's fine, then I'm going and I will happily take the distraction for the weekend." Basically, we got to the, each check, it was like kind of in the woo-woo way with, Lewin when I'm like, "He's fine. I know he's fine." I'm like, it feels like my body's telling me something's not fine, and we got to
Mm.
our 12-week scan, and it was not, um,
I'm so sorry about
not
that.
not oh, thank you. And it's one of those things that I really do want to share, but then I'm someone who is very flighty on Instagram. I'm like, "Here's a really personal thing because I think it's gonna help you." With the social media weird stuff, I avoided it for so long. I'm like, "No, you know what? If I only things I wanna post are things I think are funny and are gonna make you laugh or things that are like, 'By the way, this was a shit thing I went through,
Yeah.
and in case you go through it, here it is, and this is how it made me feel.'"
Mm.
And it was awful. It's the worst thing I've ever felt,
Mhm.
and, like, all of the things that are encompassed in it of I need to protect this, and why did my body not do and it is because 'cause I'm older, and, like, I couldn't see this through to be a baby that created and came to the end of things, but and then I had to get a DNC, and you have those, like, 2, 3 days before you're having the surgery when you're just a walking nightmare. Do you know what I did the night before my DNC? I did a self-tape for Smash the Musical.
Oh, fucking hell, Becca. Oh, God.
I had but here is why that's ridiculous and exactly what I needed to do. I was leaving my appointment and I'm on another planet of like, I can't believe I just got this news and this is devastating and I feel numb and email pops through. Hi Becca, can you get a self tape? They're doing the workshop for then the Broadway production by Friday. And I think it was like Tuesday afternoon. My surgery was on Thursday at like 7 a.m. Um, and I was like, I was like, maybe. I might, maybe.
Ah.
I was like, "It turns out I nee" and you're being cryptic to everything. I was like, "It turns out I need, um, a kind of minor surgery on Thursday morning. If I feel up to it, I'll do it Wednesday. I won't be doing anything afterwards on Thursday, but maybe Wednesday if I feel like it." And I just wanted to be on another planet and
Yeah,
not
yeah.
in the presence of what was gonna happen. And so And I always think of it because you know how you have random self-tapes that are still in your camera roll when I'm flipping
Yeah.
through for something. Kim, I looked so beautiful. I have
Oh.
never looked so gorge. I had the full Marilyn Monroe thing, and I
Oh.
marvel. I say, I mean, I don't think that. I know I see a self tape. I'm like, oh, what is wrong with my face? And I'm like, how the world, like, it doesn't compute. How did I sing, belt out that song, looking that fresh and whatever when inside I was feeling the most devastated I have of anything. And I got a call back, which I went to the next week. And I
Yes,
only
you
did
did.
it I only did it if I felt like it was going to help me and be an escape. I felt no pressure to show up and I have to say yes and do the job. I let that go in my 20s.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
but I was like, if I feel like it and I think this is gonna be a nice escape for an hour to go sing, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Good for you. Like,
so that's
just
what I did. But it made Florence's pregnancy, like, weird because I was like, "I'm not telling anyone until I am crowning, I'm not telling a word that I'm pregnant to anybody,"
yeah,
which is okay up to, like, 12, 16, and then you start to show and then I'm like, well, with Lewin, it was the 22-week scam when we found out something, so I have to wait past 22 weeks, and I have to wait past this, but then maybe, like, something else will come up, and so I don't wanna tell anyone yet, but meanwhile, I'm auditioning for things, and one of the most stressed I've been in auditions is and this is all goes with the unfairness of being a woman and an or unfair the inequality of being a man in the business and being an actor and being a woman and someone who is getting pregnant is I'm doing these auditions and I'm going, well, I'm getting to the point where I need to cancel out of these because I will not be able to do the job or I'll be out to here, which is not in the casting breakdown of this
yeah.
part. But if my partner were an actor, this 9 months of pregnancy affects him not at all.
Mhm.
And what are we gonna do about that? That's just biology, that's the way of the world, I can't boo-hoo about it, and yet, should there be something that I don't know, basically, I was in, for a show, a show, uh, and it ended up being a much longer audition process than I thought, so I said, yeah, feeling very justified at, like, 18 weeks pregnant or something like that when I started it, that I was not I don't need this is no after what had happened with my 2 losses, I was like, "I don't no one needs this information, I don't feel comfortable telling the information, it
Yeah.
is mine until I feel comfortable sharing it."
Right.
Uh, then callback, callback, very big movement callback. At 7 months pregnant, and
Oh.
then it was a weird thing where I'm like where you're kind of doing this selfish thing for yourself where I'm like, "I don't I've seen the show. I think I could give me like 3 weeks if I have the kind of birth that I had before, and I could do this show post birth because I'm just that insane kind of person. But also, like, that's not a stretch. Like, I would literally, I'd be fine. Um,
Love it.
and
Yeah.
so, this is a 12-month contract of something I could do the first 2 weeks of rehearsal, then I'm going to give birth, and then
Mm.
I'm going to miss the first 2 to 3 weeks of the contract, and then I'm good for the next 11 something months. And I was like, "But do I need to tell you this?" But then it's kind of known, like, well, if I say that I'm pregnant, then I'm not getting the job.
Yeah.
And I also have 2 kids will have 2 kids that are very expensive, and I just need to, like, pay bills and daycare, and daycare in America is insane. And so, I'm putting on Spanx and an Empire waist dress, and I'm, like, doing this audition while also going, like, is this awful? Part of me feels this is awful and feels like I'm lying. Part of me feels like I'm protecting myself and I'm entitled to my business,
Yeah.
and people break a leg and then they're out of the show for 6 weeks all the time, and this
Exactly.
is but because I know ahead of time, now I feel like I'm in this weird when I started it, it was, like, way early enough I shouldn't tell anyone. Now it's in that, you should tell someone, and I'm like, I'm either doing the audition or I'm not doing the audition, and the number of conversations I had with friends, I'm like, "This is something that people don't talk about, and what do you do with it?" And I don't think it's a big deal, but then I can also see how it's inconvenient, and so it would be a big d so but yeah, I would, like,
It
the amount of I stood in front of the mirror and I was like, can you tell? Can you tell? And I talked to my husband, like, can you tell that he's, and then my friend who ended up booking the show, I was like, oh, I didn't get, I was like, maybe they found out I was pregnant. He's like, Becca, you looked so pregnant. It's like, no, I didn't. I'm like, I planned that outfit so well. And I'm like,
What
and
are you
it's
talking
maybe
about?
it's all for the best because it would have been such a stressful, anxious. I'm so sorry. And also like, but we're talking about me being pregnant and it's my medical information. Anyway, the audition I got after that, I told my agent, I was like, I'm going in pregnant. I'm going in so pregnant. I'm not hiding it any like it's a and everyone was
That's
like, yeah. But it
stressful.
was the same thing where they were like, I was like, do they know I'm pregnant, by the way, coming in? And it was to replace in a part on Broadway that for something that people tell me all the time. Oh my God, you should do this part. You should do this part. I was like, oh, and it was starting within like a month. So I would have been had another 2 months of pregnancy. So I was like, this is one that is not feasible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like, but I still wanna go I don't want to not go in for auditions. I don't want to be like,
Totally.
"Well, that's me for the next 4 months sitting on my
Yeah.
butt." And so I was like, "Send me in, send me in." Uh, and so it was like, do we tell them before I go in? Do I make it a surprise? Do we accept the audition? And it's like, just let them know. And they were well, it doesn't matter. It was for Anne Juliet. Um,
Oh, sure.
and
Oh my
they were and I say that because they were the loveliest team. I was like,
okay.
when you feel like someone's really just doing you like, "Oh, this is a protocol because we said we would and we can't, like,
Yeah.
say you can't come." But I got a note on the scene, I got a redirect. Stephen, who was the casting director, was so lovely to me, and I'm like and I wasn't trying to cover anything. I'm like, "Oh, I'm in a dress and I can just be pregnant." And in my mind, I'm like, "Wouldn't this it be like a great bit for her if she was doing this pregnant? I could do it."
Right?
Like, the whole thing is she's a woman and she has kids and she's been put out to pasture, like and again, I'm very physically able, but,
Let's put it
yeah,
in.
I
Keep it in.
right?
Do you know what I mean?
It's like, this is a good bit. We should consider this, even though it's obviously not gonna fly with you. But
No,
I appreciated the time that they gave
do you know,
me.
you bring up a really good point though, that it's kind of like, where is it? It's our responsibility to tell them that we're pregnant. But at what point
Yeah.
in a casting process do we do that? So until
Mhm.
you're showing or not showing, because yeah, no one's going to say anything before 12 weeks anyway. But
Yeah.
for a job, you feel like, well, you're going to have to know at some point, and maybe when an
Mhm.
offer comes through. Yeah, it's a hard one to know. There's nothing legal.
No, and you're taking it upon yourself to decide, like, I'm looking at a contract and I'm going, "Oh, well, if this is between, like, 7 months to birth, like, I'm a
Mm.
very pregnant person, and if that
Yeah,
doesn't work in the storyline, suck it up, buttercup, it doesn't work."
yeah,
And also, like but a lot of these renewal contracts are 12-month contracts. I'm like, "Well, is there a world where I just start you if the show's been running, do I start a month later than you
hmm
wanted me to get the shot at a 12-month contract on
yeah.
something?" Like, maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Is there a happy medium for you that you would have when going back to work, or are you just like, if something came up, I would just go full throttle, and you just make it work with the kids?
Yeah, well, here's the funny thing, Kim. First, I will say, I, uh I also went in for I still in the hospital, I've just given birth to Florence. And I found out I got a call back for a commercial that I had done 3 days before, and I was writing my agent, I'm like, "Doc, did I get a call back for this? It didn't come through my email. I can do it. I can do the thing. It's a national
Oh,
commercial. Do you know how much money that is? I will it's just my face." I was like,
yeah.
I'm fine. Stand and talk about my skin." Uh, I was
I
like, "I'll look decrepit," but I went in for the, uh, bless my agents are also so fab and my manager with, like, me being pregnant, me being like, "Put me in. You submit me for all the things because 'cause I'm showing up," and they do. And,
brilliant.
so one of them wrote me and they're like, "So I wouldn't usually send this. You just gave birth, but they asked for you. Would you go in for the girl who was doing the, Caroline was going into Smash, of all things,
Oh,
and so
sure.
she was the standby on Sunset Boulevard, so they were looking for
Right.
a new standby. They were like, "It's on Monday." It was 7 days after I gave birth to
Oh my
sing
god.
that stuff and do those scenes and be, like, sexy black. I was like and I first replied, I was like, "Oh, no, I don't think I can do that." And then overnight, I was like, "You know what? I will give anything a shot because I'm like, am I ready to do the show on Monday? Not in a million years. In 8 weeks when it starts, could I be the standby? And I know there's also like she has an alternate on 2 days. So the chances I'm really going on I need to be ready in case, but it's not like I need to do an 8-show week kind of thing. I was like, I could do that. I know I could do that. So I'm in like my booby pads and my diapers going to AMDA like 4 days after giving birth to start singing through With One Look and all of these other songs. I'm like, this is so dumb. And also, it's so me. And if I can, it's like, and my voice sounded great and I felt fine doing it. I mean, my pelvic floor was sore from just like utilizing it to belt, but but I went, and so I waited outside this audition room and be like, "Oh, hey, what?" And was it Ellen Marsh? I think it was Ellen was outside, and I know her via friends, like very peripherally. She was like, "How?" I was like, "Hey," she's like, "Oh," saying something about her day. I was like, "Yeah, I gave birth 8 days ago." She's like, "Why are?" No offense, but why are you here? I said, "Yeah, I don't know. I just, it's just in me to do it."
That's incredible. That's an incredible story. 7 days. I wasn't even walking. I
Yeah.
mean, good for you.
No, I
Yeah.
was all padded up. I brought my pump because it was like I was fully 7 days postpartum.
Mhm,
I was
mhm.
like in it with milk. And so I was in the bathroom doing my like pumping right before so I wasn't sore trying to
Yeah.
sing. And then they didn't even have me do all the material. I feel like the associate kind of gave me one of these and was like, "No, you're not what we're going for." But was and kind of was like, "Yeah, you can sing." Um Jim, the casting director, is one of my favorites, and he was there with me and full attention and lovely and all the things. Um,
Did they know? Did they know you'd just given birth? Did you tell Jim?
no,
Oh, man.
I don't think so. As I was going in, the associate that was taking me in, I was like, just like if I feel a bit wobbly or whatever, I just had a baby. He's like, yeah, it's like 7 days ago. He's like, what? And then kind of it started, and I was like,
Oh,
I don't know that
babe.
they got the info or anything, but
Yeah.
yeah. And so what's interesting is I was thinking about doing this podcast with you. And, like, I have not taken time off. It's like "Oh, are you ready to get performing again?" I'm like, "Babe, 8 days postpartum,
Mm.
up until 7 months pregnant, like, I didn't take any time off." And I've been trying to figure out how do I keep my voice to a place where I can do these kind of leading roles I want to do. And I'm like, I know I can do it, but also I need to go in a room with the confidence to then book something. And then you think, oh, it's been a year and I had that final callback, but it didn't get to the booking. And then, and I listened to one or two of your podcasts before this and people
Oh,
talking about how they juggle. And I was like, oh, I haven't done the juggle yet because I'm not booked. I was like, I want to be the success story where I'm like, but it's been 3 years now because I had Florence. I have a 1-year-old, so
yeah,
I was
yeah.
pregnant in between. But I was on TV. I did a TV show, but
Oh,
like a
amazing.
1-day thing. So it feels very sparse working, but not for lack of trying. It's like, oh well, you took time off. I was like, no, I didn't. I just haven't booked it yet. And I'm like, oh, that feels like that's not the story I want to tell. I want to be like, and mums can do it all. And then when we had this scheduled for the first time, I was in that week for like 2 different things. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be perfect. I'm gonna book my next Broadway show or something." And then I could be like, "Kim, I haven't worked in ages." And then I'm gonna be like, "And I just booked something." Crickets, crickets, nothing. I was like,
Oh.
"Oh, no, I have to do the podcast with no bookings," and just be like this. I'm like, but maybe that's the better story that moms have of like, I'm trying to get back in it. No, I haven't. People are like, "Oh, are you still performing?" It's like, "Yes, I'm showing up, I'm in class, I'm doing all of the things." And, if I could tell you the final callbacks and the things that have almost booked and how
Mm.
that stamina of staying in it and being like, "Oh, I just mom all the time. I make so many dinners and I fold so much laundry."
Yeah.
And, "Mommy, mommy, 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 yes." And school pickups. And I'm like, I'm an actor too, and that identity feels so far from me.
Mm.
Um all to say, last night, 6 o'clock, I got an offer, Broadway show.
No, you're joking.
I'm
You're
being
joking.
serious. I'm being serious.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I was
Congratulations.
like, wait, what? But I was going in to teach because I've been juggling so much teaching. And so I'm starting my class. I was like, I need to get this. Hold on. 5 minutes. I'll be right back. It's like, you're getting an offer. I was like, oh my God. And like,
Oh my
we
gosh.
haven't negotiated anything. It hasn't. And I
Okay.
don't count on anything in this business to not fall through the cracks, but that's not going to happen. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
Um, so I was like, I do get to do the podcast with
Yeah.
after my
Having booked.
desert of like 3 years.
But
Um,
no, do you know what though? I think you are doing the juggle because that is just as important. The auditions and the teaching, your coaching and the training and self
yeah,
tapes, that is harder, I would argue, than being on a job because you don't know what's coming. You're weak day to day, trying to get the childcare, trying to get something
yeah,
sorted. I feel like the juggle of that, I really struggle with. Like I'm saying, I'm in cast change at the moment. And this is where I'm like, fuck, what do I do day to day?
yeah,
Whereas at least my normal shows, I can be like, okay, I've got a bit of a setup going. Like it's hard, but
yeah,
we make it work. But I think when you're not working, you're still take children out of the equation and being a mum, already being an actor, I feel like
yeah.
trying to get a life kind of routine or a plan is mad. So oh my God, this is
It's that
amazing.
that mental
Yeah.
game
Yeah.
of, oh, I'm a mom and I feel my hormones are all over the place. And I feel a thing that I juggle with is, or I'll tell you my mantras I say to myself a lot that I've
Yeah.
just kind of come up with, is it was just such a shock to me becoming a mom and how much I was like, well, I have my life and I love my life. And then I'm going to get this addition of being a mom and I'm going to have less time, but I'll be myself with this addition of kids. I didn't realize I was like, oh, I don't exist anymore. Everything I knew is gone. Me, whatever I did before, no time for it. And I'm also a completely reborn person.
Hmm.
Uh, in learning to function and walk into rooms, I'm like, how does this person sing and act? And I would get auditions and I'm like, great. And in the olden days, pre-kids, I even if it was 24 hours or 48 hours, I loved the process of, oh, who's the producer? Who's the director? Let me see if I can Google and YouTube what they've done before. What is this based on? I'm going to read 5 chapters of the book and I'm going to go like finding the inspiration and forming the character so that when I do my 5 minutes in the room or on tape, I feel really solid in my choices.
Mm.
And I said to my friend, I was like, it's reworking my brain to go, I will never feel prepared enough for any audition I do, just because it does not compare to anything I did before.
Mm.
And I don't think I needed all that time. I didn't need to sit and watch movies that inspired me. It's this shortcut of going, you've got 1 hour here because you're going to hire the babysitter and that's expensive. So it's going to cost you $50 to go rent the studio and go sing through these songs and come back. But you've got that hour and you need to make it work and you need to get as much as you can done in it. And you had 5 hours of sleep last night. Oh, well, guess you're going to do it on 5 hours of sleep and make it. And so the things that I kind of say to myself is when I'm like, "Oh, I'm lost. What am I doing?" Da, 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 da. I'm like, "I'm more powerful than I'm being right now. I'm more powerful than I'm being right now. There's like another version of me that can up level to like conquer this." And
Oh,
this one sounds harsh, but I'm like, "No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to save me."
yeah.
Because I feel like I get caught and I see moms get caught in this spiral where it's like, this is crazy. I'm trying to do something impossible. Surely someone is coming to go, "Oh, no, 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 no. It's not that hard. Let me help you." Like this is because it just feels insane. And
Yeah.
instead, it's this acceptance of like, no, this is how insane it is by choices that I would not change for the world. Like my babies
Yeah.
and my husband, and also still choosing to be an actor, like a million times over, I would do it again and continue to choose it. And in postpartum feels and in and out of depression and different things like that, I was like, I still wouldn't change this for the world. And it sucks that I have to feel so kind of sad and empty, but I would still have my kids. So that was gratifying to know that was there. But
Yeah.
this idea of like, if I want that, which I do, then I need to figure it out. No one else is coming to figure it out for me or be like, if someone wants to help me out, amazing. And I do have friends where I'm like, I called every babysitter and I got a call back tomorrow and I need to go. My friend Josh is like, I got you. I'm like, I love you
Oh.
so much. My
Oh.
friend Natalie, she's like, do you need me to come get them in the morning? I'm like, yes, so that I can go do a thing. But for the most part, everyone has their own lives and they're doing their own thing. And if you have to figure it out. And I think
Hmm.
this waiting period of well, it must get easier. This is crazy that it would be this much of a juggle or feel this stressful. But I think it does if you want to do big things and you're trying to do everything. So you go, okay, it's up to me to make it better. So I can't sit here and go, oh my God, like completely shocked with it, which is what I think the natural occurrence is because it is shocking, the
Yeah.
juggle of it. But
Yeah.
instead to go, all right, I'm going to be angry for a day or sad for a day or disappointed for a day. And then because I didn't book the job or because I didn't get any sleep or because I didn't do the audition I wanted to because I was committed to all of my other jobs, my teaching and this, and
Yeah.
I lacked time. I'm just going to go, right, that's what it was. And I will do better tomorrow. And I now have some information where I know I got to get the babysitter for 2 hours. I got to suck up that cost. I've got to do this because I need, and I figure it out more day by day because I want stuff. I want my kids. I want my acting career. I want to sing. And it's so much tougher than before I had kids and I was single, but it's always tough. And also, and I try and check myself all the time. I'm like, Rebecca, your privileged life with the things going on in the world, get over yourself. You want to sing and act on stage and do like the best job in the world. Yeah, that's going to be, yeah, people are going to want that. There's going to be some competition. So
Yeah.
then that brings me back.
No, it's good. You're right. It's the prioritizing the time thing. Who goes where, that goes there. Like it's all more like
Yeah.
hyper focused. I think that's what it's
Hmm.
become. There is less
Hmm.
time for. You're so right. Read 5 chapters of this. Watch the movie. The inspiration. I'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah, lean into that. And
I'm
now
like,
it's like,
oh, I feel
bomb.
so ooey gooey and ready to act. Let's make some art. I'm like, make some art? Yeah, good, let's go.
Give me 20 minutes. That's it. Yeah.
You find your priorities. I'm like,
Mhm.
for everyone, and as a teacher, I'm constantly teaching,
Mhm.
scenes and singing and this thing. I'm like, I need to find my version of this person that I can present. And if it's memorized, I hope it is because it'll be better. But if not, oh well. And you have to just go, oh well,
Yeah.
about these things and go, well, here's my lyric sheet. And for this final callback, I should be fully memorized, but I couldn't cancel my teaching job last night because I need that money to pay for the daycare that my kid goes to only 2 days a week and the
Yeah.
babysitter on the day and so, acceptance.
But all of that is you doing the juggle, isn't it?
Yeah. Don't cancel my life things anymore
Okay.
for it.
Yeah.
That's something that I kind of started getting last year where I was so pre-kids beholden to anything and everything this career could possibly want. Cancel everything because I need my 24 hours of watching the movies and preparing and this and that. And I have brought that down to what do I actually need to do as good a job as I possibly can
Yeah.
without the fluff around it. And so like my friend Holly, who has her show Ready, Steady, Go,
Oh, yeah.
and is a
Oh, people will
fabulous,
know this is Holly Taylor, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
fabulous
Yeah.
actress herself. Uh, she was in New York for like 2 days. And so, I worked the schedule. I'm like, and then of course on the day before I get 8 pages of like a dream film. And I was like, right, 8 pages. Good, 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 good. And you're
Great.
immediately like, when am I going to learn this? And then you just do this up level of like, I'm going to, and I have a dinner in the village with Holly Taylor, and I'm not canceling it because I don't get to see her enough, like once a year maybe, and that filled me just as much as doing a good job in this. If I've canceled my entire life to do this
Mhm.
one audition, which is or is not going to go my way, then I'm just bummed afterwards
Yeah.
and it just
Yeah.
sucks. So I was like, right, I'm going to meet you at your hotel. I'm going to sit in the lobby and I'm going to start memorizing for an hour while you unpack and do your thing. Then we're going to dinner. I can't sit there for 3 or 4 hours. We're going to do a tight 2 hour, hour and a half, two. And then on the subway home, I'm going to memorize again. So you have that pressure. I was like,
Right.
right, I'll get it on Tuesday. So I learned 8 pages in like a couple hours and then I did it. And it's that if I drop a few lines, I had 24 hours and I had other plans that I wasn't going to cancel.
Yeah.
Um,
Have a life.
and life feels better like that. It's the same with kids. I've got to take him to football. I've got to do her pickup from school.
Yeah. I've got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with your new contract, is that's 8 shows a week you're doing?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
fun.
But it's like the offer, and hopefully within 24 hours, I could be like, cut this out or don't cut it out.
Oh,
Hopefully
yeah.
we're leaving everything in. It's kind of the offers just come through, but I was literally going to, and that's the compartmentalizing thing.
Mm.
Um, where I'm starting to teach and give a lecture on, finding the human behavior before you start a scene, before you're even in the lines. And I'm like, 8 shows a week, Broadway, principal, contract. Don't think about it. I'll think about it afterwards. Right. So when we're going into a scene, my brain's like, la, 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 la. And I'm like, quiet. I can't right now. That is like the focus that I need to get something done how I want to, because this is happening all the time
Yeah.
and you have to do this. So I was like, I'm teaching for the next 3 hours, and then I can start scrolling on my phone and see the texts and the emails and where's that offer? What? Because and they were like, I was like, I just got a Broadway show. Okay, lecture. They're like, what? My students. I was like, yeah. They're like, when do you start? I'm like, don't know. Didn't even ask. Didn't. Right. Let's get to class. But then
Brilliant.
then I opened the contract. Like, oh, May 21st, 2 weeks. Uh,
Oh,
God,
wow.
that's a lot to figure out. And then, like, June 4th shows start. It's like a yeah.
Wow. Quick old
Yeah.
turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to get you back on in August and be like,
It'd be
"How's
fine.
it going? How's the
Yeah.
kids?"
Because I do feel, and I don't know if you feel this, but I'm like, I know nothing. I feel like I know nothing, and I feel like I really learn so much day to day to day to day
Oh my god.
on
Yeah.
how this whole thing works. And
Yeah.
I've really dug into the how do I not give up? How do I try and keep confidence up and walk into a room thinking, you should book me because I'm good stuff.
Yeah.
When I'm like, I didn't sleep last night, and am I too old for this now that I'm a mom? Am I not desirable anymore now that I have 2 babies and I'm like 5 pounds heavier than I used to be, and and am now a mom or whatever? To go like, no, fuck that. Like, I actually have so much more to offer, and I have so much more just like to me, that's how it's evolved for me, which I always feel like I wanna point out because I was very much thinking, "Oh, am I gonna wave the flag for the women that didn't have babies?" And when people would look at me like, "Oh, do you need to have kids?" I'd be like, "Do you honestly feel sorry for me? Do you not? I've been on
Yeah.
Broadway. I just went to Paris. I do whatever I want. Why are you looking at me with" I can sense this, like, pity that I'm not married with kids, and it just infuriates me.
Yeah.
So but how it worked out, which I knew if I had the opportunity to have a partner and have kids, that's what I wanted. And so basically, it's all worked out for the best. This is what I wanted.
Yeah.
And learning something new with it. I'm not a mom now and I can't do the thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, I can and I will, and I don't know how. Someone help me out, tell me something,
We'll make it work.
and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I know you do the job shares in the UK. We don't have that here.
It's only just started here. There's like it's getting a bit
Okay.
of momentum. There's been one in Les Mis for like 10. Well, she's been doing the job share for about 4 or 5 years, and yeah, so I've got one. It's only because
Yeah.
it's a 4 show weekend, so it's 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. And when I came back from my maternity, I was like, I won't be able to do that. I don't know. My husband has got like a normal job and like trying to make it work. I was like,
My husband's
I
got
don't,
a normal job.
yeah, it just makes it hard sometimes. As well. Like I know it's also easier in ways, but
I'm lying in
so
bed last night with Matt. I'm like, "Oh, I'm never gonna see you. Like, I'm never gonna see you."
yeah,
I was like,
but
"We've gotta be," but with that, I'm already like, it's just gotta be so strategic, so planned.
yeah, yeah,
Like, on Tuesday at 12 o'clock, we get coffee, and luckily in New York, everything is so close
yeah,
to each other. So,
totally.
um, but I was when
Yeah,
you talk about the job shares with other people, I'm like, I don't know if for my personality type that just wants to like work and do
yeah,
stuff. I was like, but at the same time, like there is this balance. I can't be like 8 shows a week. I will never call out because I'm responsible for a human that needs me. I'm like, what version of that would I want? I feel like I'd want like I know some people have done they get like just the Tuesday night show off,
hmm
or even
hmm
if I'm like, maybe not every week, maybe like every other week, like that Tuesday was off. Or maybe I'd want a floating like 8 parent days or something because,
yeah,
like, if your kid really needs you, then you have to take the show off, but I get filled with so much guilt about electively taking a show off because I need it or my child would need it, and so if I had something in the bank that is supposed to be used. I'm like, yeah, that is, I think, what I'd want. I'd want like 8 or 10 just like parent days that's like, my kid's been crying. They're saying they miss me so much. I'm taking Tuesday off so that I can do dinner and bedtime and we can lie in bed and do stories and go to sleep with him and just like feel that. I feel like that's what I would like. Oh God, I performed in a back brace in Spiderman. I was like, I'm not calling out.
God.
But what would make me want to call it would be my kids, would be
Yeah.
Lewin or Florence being sick or having a bad day or like just saying how much they missed me and missing wanting to see me, to be like, okay, I'm going to stay home with you tonight.
Yeah.
To know that I had something to use. And instead of that panic of like, I have to show up, I can't, 8 shows a week. Like having that in place, I think would be super helpful.
That's a really good idea. Do you know,
Who are we taking it to? What producer?
Yeah. But you don't know what day it's going to happen. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like, I know I've got my days when I'm at work, but if the day before I'm in is the day that they're not sleeping, then I'm just fucked.
Exactly.
But whatever, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So here's the thing. When something happens on Broadway, then we normally copy. So if you could just, like, initiate that, no pressure, that would be great. And
Done.
everyone will be like, they're doing it on Broadway. We have to do it here now.
I'll get them put in.
Amazing.
Bring it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the chat. I really appreciate you coming and talking to me, and massive congratulations. And
thank you. I hope that made sense.
Absolutely. Oh,
You're so welcome.
Oh, I need to acknowledge as well, you did a story or something, and it was about your son having like a Spiderman backpack, and it just killed me that you're like, this kid has no idea that I was like on Broadway.
Well, with that, we did, they did like a promotion at the theater, and I was like 30, 28, playing a senior in high school, 28, 29. Anyway, in Spiderman, and they did a promotion where they gave these backpacks they had done these billboards in Times Square and beautifully airbrushed them. I was like, oh, I'll never look so good on a billboard. So I was like a cartoon version of myself, but they printed it on these backpacks. And my mom said, oh, you've got to grab some of those for your kids. I was like, my kids? That's far off. No, what are you talking? That seems so silly and so, over the top. And my mom was like, you're going to want it, and you should get 2. I was like, oh my God. And so then I was talking in front of house. I was like, can I have 2 backpacks? And Mom says that I'm going to want it for my kids. And then lo and behold, children, I'm like, oh my God, I have a backpack that I'm on that you can have.
Obsessed. Oh my God, I love it.
Exciting.
No, great shout. Well done, Mum. She knew. She called it. Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Oh,
thanks, Mom.
Brilliant. Okay, amazing. I'll let you shoot off. Thank you so much.
Bye.
So the job that Becca is referring to is MJ the musical. She's now currently playing the role of Rachel in MJ on Broadway and has sent us her little update. So here it is.
Hi, Kim. I'm talking to myself. I want to say, how are you? What are the chances that the night before we did your podcast, I get an offer for my next show after 8 years of not being on Broadway and doing film and TV and having babies and all of the things? What interesting timing. So we chatted about the fact that, or I reached out to you just saying, the learning curve has been immense of the last, what has it been, about 8 weeks now? I've been in the show 3.5, 4 weeks now, and rehearsed 3 weeks exactly before that. It's been intense. There's been the very expected things, and then there's also been the interesting unexpected things. And kind of what I said to you is the oh my goodness, the learning curve, and just every day and every week I'm just kind of clocking, okay, this is something I can improve on, this is something I need to work on, this is something I need to figure out. And so I was just gonna talk a bit about my experience and kind of what I'm discovering and what's helping me. So the expected thing is now we have this insane schedule. How does everything work? My husband works Monday to Friday during the day. I now have an 8-show week. Lewin is at school, but just until 2:30. And now, as of this week, is on summer vacation, so he's off every single day. And my 1-year-old had daycare 2 days a week. So, I won't even talk about the 3 weeks of rehearsal when I was in all day and night. That was luckily grandparents visiting from Wales for a week, because we don't have family near us that live in the city. So any of that, Mommy, Daddy, can you do me a favor and watch the kids, does not exist for us. So it's all organizing babysitters or extra days of daycare. my husband zips home from work at 5:40 and I zip out the door to the theater. That is a huge advantage for me that I have been trying to get rid of for years, is the location of where we live. I live a 7-minute walk from the theater. I live on 57th Street and our theater is on 52nd Street. And that is all credit to my husband, who has been saying, when you're on Broadway, you're going to be glad that you're here and you can just walk to the theater, to which I high and mighty tried to explain to him, no, when I'm in a show, I want to leave the busy area and I want to go somewhere quiet so that I can, be calmer and it's quieter and my nervous system can come down. But that's in my romantic pre-kids life where I could sleep in and I'd get a coffee and I'd go for a walk and it was a slow morning. That doesn't exist for me anymore. So having that is a non-starter, which now I'm very grateful that we have stayed here, because having that proximity to the theater, I get to do dinners and I get to leave at 5:40. And so I'm just missing bedtime. Sometimes I can fit in bath time. I come back between shows and sometimes bring them to the theater for an hour. And so that has been helpful. But then the thing to figure out is, okay, I can't watch the kids every free minute I have to then run to the theater and do a show. There are other things that need to exist in that, like sleep in order to do a show, and exercise, and seeing a friend for a coffee, or things that kind of make you feel like a human and you're not just going all the time. And that's something that I am figuring out. And if I ever figure it out, I'll let you know what it is. But yeah, the logistics are a thing. And the only advice I can give for that is helpful for me is that everything has to go on a calendar and has to be scheduled, even down to the fact that I see my husband way less than I did before, because we used to put the kids down and then we'd have the evenings together. And so now I say, okay, once or twice a week, I need to get a babysitter and we need to have a coffee or we need to have lunch so I can actually talk to you. If I have nights where the kids, Florence had a virus and did not sleep at all last week, and so I got to the Tuesday show and thought, okay, well, this is the limit. This is the limit of the amount of fatigue with which I can do a show. So if this happens again, I need a babysitter. I have a babysitter right now. So I'm paying to talk on here, and then I will take a nap for 30 minutes. And all of that is worth it to try and find some balance, I think. Another thing that I didn't think of, and yet it's so obvious once it started happening, and I don't think we talk about this enough, is the constant identity crisis you go through as a parent. I really wanted kids. I wanted to add it to my life. I also really loved my life before kids, and I liked who I had figured myself out to be and what makes me tick. And then I was just going to naively add kids into the mix. And so I'd be a little more tired and a little more busy, but I would still be myself just with kids. And then, as I'm sure many of you discovered, and I definitely discovered, is that old me does not exist anymore. And I was clawing on to trying to be them, and then realized my whole identity is different now with kids, and I am a mother, and I need to accept that. And by bringing kids into my life, it's one of the greatest things I'll ever do, and I will be forever changed and will not ever react or move through the world in the same way as I did when I was a without children woman. And so going into the show, there was this really high pressure of, the rehearsals, and I'm going in 3 weeks and I'm trying to learn it all. And I haven't been on stage in 8 years, and I kind of pop myself out there and I do the put in, and my adrenaline was coursing through my body. And then I do the first show, and I felt actually kind of okay on my first show, but I'm also on stage going, oh my God, 1,400 people, who let me back here? What am I doing on a Broadway stage? This was not what I was doing 3 weeks ago, and this is what I want to do, but also I can't believe I'm out here, and everything that goes with that. And the last time I was in a show was 8 years ago, and there's that kind of community feel of you go for a drink after the show and you socialize and you get to know people, and that kind of releases the pressure of doing something so incredible as a show and the pressure that comes with that. And I was rushing home from the show every night because now I have kids and I need to sleep and I need to be with them and I need to see my husband. And Yeah, it's just been an interesting, who is the mother version of me that does shows, and how do I get to know the cast and find some aspect of socializing that fits into. I have kids that wake up through the night because they're 1 and 4 and are up at 6 a.m., 6:30 in the morning wanting to play. So that's been an interesting thing to navigate. And I guess to conclude, some of the things that I think I'm really conscious about that have helped me. Well, first of all, I booked in with my therapist as soon as I booked the show. Just because that helps me with anxiety. It helps me kind of think through what I might be feeling. And so I've had a session with her every week. I'm also really careful with the words that I use and kind of what I put out there. I kind of go to do a show, and the immediate response on a lot of days, I want to say, is, oh my God, I can't do this show. I don't know how I'm going to do the show this tired. I am so tired. I didn't sleep at all last night. I can't do a show when I have 5 hours of sleep because the baby was sick, etc. And I know that I would take this hard over the previous hard, which is there's this big part of me missing, which is performing and being artistic. And right now I'm just singularly in my motherhood era. I would rather be trying to do this juggling act and have both than not. So I just flip that around. I go, of course I can do the show like this. I am fully capable of doing it like this, and I'm just tired today, and that is fine. I'm a professional and I know how to navigate this. I kind of really try to stick to that because it's what I want, and that's what I keep reminding myself is I want to be a working artist, and I want to be a mother, and my kids will forever be kind of my greatest, proudest creation that I will ever make in this life. And at the same time, I will say, for any parents that feel ashamed to say it, just being a mother and feeling that that is my sole and only purpose is not enough for me to be my happiest and most fulfilled. And I know that, and that's why I worked really hard to get back to having both, and I hope to maintain having both. And for all the times that I'm not working and I am really mothering at kind of the center of my life, it'll be great, and I will be grateful for that time that I get to spend with them. But ideally, for me, and I feel most myself and most purposeful when I am getting to do all of it. And so I'm just going to stay grateful, and I'm going to keep figuring it out as I go. And my God, I figure something out new every other day. And also having grace with myself for different things, because I am juggling a lot and things are going to slip through the cracks. I will finish up with one of what will become one of my most shameful stories for the rest of my life, which only a parent will go. I think if you're not a parent, you'll go, oh, it's not that bad. If you're a parent, you'll go, oh my God. So Lewin is in school, and he 2 days a week I have him do after school, so that I could get an extra kind of 2 hours to do work or teach or whatever I needed to do. And as part of this, after he's in school, and they have, Friday mornings, and we have showcases at the school as part of his school classroom. But then this after school is a different thing, 2 days a week. And I got to pick him up last week or the week before, and I was running from rehearsal, but I did actually have the afternoon, those hours free. And I went and I picked up my 1-year-old at daycare, and I got on the subway with the stroller, and then I got off the stroller, and I'm pushing, and it's so hot here. So I get to school and I'm sweating, and I'm here to pick up Lewin, and the one of the teachers comes to me, and she said, just so you know, he was a little sad today. I said, oh no, what happened? And she said, well, because it was their showcase, so he was a little sad. You weren't here. I said, his what? And the color drains from your face. And she said, well, they had their showcases today. I said, what showcase? Did we get a letter about this? Was there any? She said, oh, well, there was an email. Now, as I'm sure all of you do, since we sign up for things online, I get 50, 60 spam emails and different things a day. And so things obviously slip through the cracks. And I guess he was having a showcase, and they'd learned a song, and they performed it at the end of the day class. And I felt awful. Like, absolutely awful. I called my husband. I was like, I will never recover from this. This is the worst thing that could, this is my nightmare. Being very dramatic. I was like, this is my nightmare of something that could happen. I got home and I tried to set up a stage. I was like, show me your song and do your thing for me. And I wrote to see if anyone had taken videos so I could watch videos. And I'm so proud of you and I'm so sorry. And he's over it in a few hours. I will not ever be over it until I die. But it's those kind of things, already a slip up there, where I'm like, that, now that I've taken on so much more, is going to happen, and all I can do is try to prevent it from happening and do my best. And I think, that's what we do as parents, right? Our best and what we can, and put it on the schedule and write it down, and then hopefully things don't slip through cracks. But when they do, it just happens. So yeah, I'm sure in another month or two, I will have a bunch more ideas and pieces of advice of things I've figured out. But it is a hard worth having, and I feel so grateful that I get to do it. Good luck, parents. Godspeed. I hope you all get what you want. Thanks for having me, Kim. Bye.